There's probably a water tower like this in your neighborhood. Do you know how they work? A water tower generally is positioned at the high point of a town, and it's filled with millions of gallons of water. The weight of water in that tank pushes down through a pipe and provides water pressure to all the houses in the local community. So how do you get enough water pressure in a place like New York City? Even if you could fit a water tower here, it would only be tall enough to provide water pressure to the bottom third of most of these buildings. So if you look around Manhattan, any apartment building over 5 stories has to have a water tank like that to provide water pressure to just that building and not to an entire town or region. Today's project is all about solving a problem caused by the water tank on the roof of this building right here in Midtown. Hello, Arlene.
Hello, welcome to New York.
Nice, thank you.
Come on in.
So how long have you been here?
We've been here about 6 years. My wife and I moved in shortly after our son was born.
Condo?
It's a co-op.
What's the difference?
It's a strange New York thing. Co-op allows you to buy shares to allow you to live in your apartment.
Okay.
And a condo, you actually own the 4 walls of your apartment.
So is there any advantage one over another?
Yeah, buying into a co-op is cheaper
On the front end?
on the front end.
And you can still build equity that you can transfer?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, by whatever name you call it, it's terrific.
Thank you very much.
You're right here in Midtown. I mean, I can look over and I can see Chrysler Building, but it seems like everywhere I look now, all I seem to see is water tanks, because that's what I'm looking for.
They're everywhere, and they're part of my problem. New York City requires buildings like ours to clean the water tanks once a year.
And flush them right out.
Yeah, and in the process, all this gunk flows through, and it basically lowers our water pressure throughout the entire apartment.
Okay, what do you do?
Well, I've learned to clean the kitchen faucet, clean out those
That
little
little aerator,
aerator.
good.
Yep.
Yep.
And I managed to get one of those giant wrenches that gets me into the inlet
Look
for
at
my
you.
washing machine. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a little filter inside those washing machine hoses.
Exactly. But my main problem is in the shower in the master bath.
Let's take a peek there.
So the problem with this shower is when we renovated, they put in this fancy new unit.
beautiful. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
But as you can see, there are no screws here, so I don't even know how to get in it.
Right.
So I have to call a plumber every single time.
Okay.
And plumbers aren't cheap. They're about $800 a pop every
I've
time
heard
I
that.
bring them in.
But I got to tell you, it's in New York City, it's a big deal. Just before I came here today, I had to fill out a certificate of insurance, write a letter of scope of work on letterhead, and I had to find a place to park and park the thing. It's not cheap by the time you add it up. But I get it. I get what you're saying. But I think what we could maybe do today is maybe to teach you how to take that apart carefully. Okay? You up for that?
Absolutely.
All right. So let me just check around before I do anything silly.
Great, thanks.
All right, careful on the step.
Okay.
So look what happens. I got poking around your building, and look what I found, the water tank.
Pretty cool.
You been up here before?
Never.
Okay. So here's the water tank for the whole building. You look at it, it looks like a big wine cask. Looks like they have pine boards that are all held together by these hoops. And it sits at the very top of the building, and you can hear the water running. You hear it?
Oh, yeah.
So at the top, it has 2 floats, and when it needs to, the floats bring on a pump, and the pump pushes water gradually up to the top. You can hear it, and it fills this tank. And now the size and geometry of this tank and the height determines the water pressure for all the people down below. The lower you go in the building, the more water pressure it gets. So a lot of these things sit outside, but somewhere along the line they built this building around it. But I thought it was a cool place, right?
Very. Yeah.
It's also good for people to know where their water comes from. All right. So you ready to get back to work?
Let's do it.
We need to turn you into a plumber. I'll follow you. So when they flush that tank on the roof and that sediment comes down, looking for a place to clog, you'd think it would be right here in the shower, because here's a hand shower, there's small holes there, or a shower head. But it isn't the place that it happens. Actually, think about it. Before the water gets here, it has to pass through this very complicated shower valve right here with tight little passageways. So this is probably the clog point. So now, we're going to take this apart, but I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to coach.
Sounds good.
So when you look at this, it freaks you out, because you go, I mean, how's it go together? Well, remember, somebody, after this was tiled, somebody had to put the plate on, put the handles on. So if they can put it on, we can figure out how to take it off, okay?
Right.
Now, sometimes on these things, there's a little pry-off thing here, a little index, and underneath it might be a screwdriver slot. That doesn't look like it. So feel around there. There should be some sort of, you feel something?
Yeah, got
okay,
it.
so that has an O-ring. Just try to pry it out. And if you can, I can. Okay, now I'm really glad that we actually have a drop cloth so these don't drop down the drain. So there should be 2 more, one on each one.
Got
You
it.
got one?
Yep.
Okay, so with the covers off, now inside there's probably a hex head. And this is a European valve, so try that wrench right here. It's a 2.5 millimeter. And loosen it, but you don't have to go all the way. And now careful, without turning the valve on, because the water pressure's still on, loosen it and then just pull it straight off. Good. There's the first one. All right, next one should be right below it. Get a good bottom into that. Get the thing in and now loosen.
Got it.
That's good. All right. So now try pulling that one straight off. 2. Okay. Loose enough?
Yeah.
Okay, so give it a straight tug back. Okay,
Got
good.
it.
So there's the 3 handles are off. And you look at this plate and you go, why isn't it falling off? Well, it's being held on by these escutcheons right here. So let's try loosening these counterclockwise. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, there's one. And try the bottom one. Okay. Now, does that plate wiggle around? Does it come off?
Yes.
Okay, careful. Look at you. All right, so there's the valve body behind the wall. So what I want you to do is to carefully take this screwdriver, clockwise again. Yeah, ready? Until it gets all the way to the bottom, and that should shut off the hot water side.
Okay.
All right, so try the cold now. Same thing. Get that small screwdriver slot, turn it clockwise until it bottoms out, and then give it a good little snug to make sure we hold the water back. Just snug it. Okay.
Got it.
So now, we assume these are off, but the way to test it is you put this on the handle right here, and no pressure. We're going to turn this on. If it doesn't hold, I'm going to get soaked. So go ahead. So turn it lefty. Good. Thank you. I didn't need a shower. Okay, so the water is off, and it's time to take the cartridge out. So this is an adjustable, you can take it, an adjustable open-end wrench, also called a crescent wrench. And you see the little shoulders on there?
Yep.
So get it on there now, and now get a good bite. Now you're going to give this way. You're going to go counterclockwise. You might need, good, good. Okay, I'll get another bite. And that wrench is great because it doesn't scratch that shoulder up. Good. Now, okay, loose now. Before you pull it, there could be a little water in the valve body, so just I'm going to put a rag right here. So just ready, get ready. Pull it out. A little bit of, yeah, good. Now look at this. Here's this cartridge. You see this? There's screens right here, and look, it's starting to mass up right there. So it's not clogged yet, but it's on its way. Good. So we'll clean that up.
Okay.
Good. You're getting to be a pro. And just take that brush and just clean off all the impurities that are on that fine mesh. Then what I want you to do is actually soak that cartridge in a mixture of vinegar and water. And that'll help to break down the calcium that might be inside that screen. Let that sit for a couple of hours at least. All right, now it is time to rebuild. So there's your cartridge all cleaned up.
Okay.
You just put it in. It's just the opposite of everything we did before. So
Got it.
righty tighty. Okay, here's your adjustable open end. Now, an important step is to turn the hot and the cold back on. See, there's your screwdriver. All right, so both hot and cold are on. Good. So here's our plate. There's a bottom and a top. Yep. Yeah, the logo's down there, so that's the bottom. Here's your top escutcheon right there, that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what do you know? They both work perfectly. I had every confidence in you.
Yay.
Nicely done, Ricky.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. We'll see. I have every confidence you'll be able to do this every single time, right?
I hope so. Thanks for coming to New York, and thanks for teaching me.
It was great. You were awesome.
Thanks.
You are a good coach.
Thank you.
So why so much sediment? Is that normal?
Well, a big tank like that sitting on the top of the building, it sits there and all the particulates that are in the water can settle to the bottom, and that becomes a collection point. And you have another tank like this in anybody's house, which is a water heater. Same thing happens.
Right.
Sediment goes to the bottom. Then they go to flush it, you know, with good intention. They want to flush it. The co-op people want to flush it so that it doesn't become a problem with Legionella or Giardia. But, you know, then it becomes this issue down through the building.
Yeah.
So she could wish that they put a master filter on, but that's beyond her control. That would have to be the co-op board.
Yep. Okay. Well, good information.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.